P38 Grades and Upgrades Number 1. Cooling Water Replacement. We will try to answer the questions how to mix coolant to get a mixture with water with minus 15 degrees Celsius freezing point, and how many liters of coolant do I need to fill the engine of the P38 diesel. Access the engine bay by pulling the lever that opens the bonnet. The lever that opens the bonnet is between the words range and rover. Take the cap off. Drain the coolant by taking off the screw that is on the bottom of the radiator. With the engine cold, flush the system with a hose with fresh water. You may keep the engine running for a minute or so for the pump take all the water out. To determine the concentration of the coolant, you will need a refractometer. Just for testing, if you use plain water on the refractometer, you will read a freezing point of 0 degrees Celsius. We will use 1.5 liters of concentrated coolant. This coolant is a G12 type, and with a concentration of 2 parts of coolant and 3 parts of water will give you minus 24 degrees Celsius of freezing point. This is about 40% concentration for minus 24 degrees Celsius. So let's measure the concentration for 5 liters of coolant with a mixture of 0.75 of coolant and 4.25 liters of water. With this mixture, the freezing point is about minus 5 degrees Celsius, so is less than what we need. So to increase the concentration, I add the rest of the coolant to the mixture and made a second reading. In this case, we got minus 10 degrees Celsius, so it's still under minus 15. So I added this mixture of coolant and water to the engine, and now I want to determine how many liters can the engine take. I drove the car adding some coolant on the go up until there is no more needed to add coolant. I concluded that I put around 5 liters of coolant in the engine. When I got back and after the engine is cooled down, I made another reading of the concentration of the coolant. This reading showed that the concentration is minus 5 degrees Celsius. So this means that I didn't drain the system entirely, and I need to add more coolant to increase the concentration of the freezing point. After adding some more coolant, I made another reading, and I've got minus 10 degrees Celsius. In the end, I added to the engine 3 liters of concentrated G12 coolant plus 4.25 liters of water. This was expecting to give me minus 15 degrees Celsius, but it didn't. So I guess there is more water than I think there is in the engine after draining, or that the coolant doesn't have the freezing point we expected to have.